Hey guys, it's the Average Drummer and I'm here with another cooking time. Today we're making another breakfast meal. Today we're making biscuits and gravy as well as steak and eggs. I know, you're saying, Ben, that's a lot of breakfast food. But I'm here to tell you, it's really not. When I make breakfast, I make a lot of food. And you would probably say to yourself, Ben, steak and eggs is a main course. Why do you need biscuits and gravy? Because biscuits and gravy are a main course. Steak and eggs, when biscuits and gravy are involved, are a side dish. So today, we're gonna make homemade biscuits, homemade sausage gravy, and then make steak and eggs. I mean, steak and eggs is easy. Biscuits and gravy though, there's an art, there's a finesse. There's a je ne sais quoi to those. I don't even know what that means. I just said it because it sounded French. We're just gonna start with the biscuits. And I'm gonna attempt to make them shaped as TIE Fighters, the Millennium Falcon, because those are the only cutters I have that are big enough to make a good looking biscuit. I don't know if they're gonna hold shape, but we're gonna find out. So, to the biscuits. So to make your biscuits, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need 2 cups of flour, 6 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and a full tablespoon of baking powder. You're also going to need a big bowl and one of these butter cutter things. You need this thing to cut the butter into the flour. I don't know what it's called. I call it a butter cutter. This thing. First step of this whole biscuit making process. Next step, add all of your dry ingredients for the biscuits into a bowl and whisk them all together. Then add your butter, cold butter, and cut the butter into the flour dry mixture until it resembles a kind of cornmeal texture. If you don't know what that is, Google it. We're gonna add our 2 cups of flour into the bowl, tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to whisk that all together with a whisk that I don't actually have on hand. With a whisk, kind of combine all that together a little bit. Then we're gonna take our butter, cut your butter up into little chunks like this. So take the butter, dump it all into here, if it will all come out of the bowl. Grab your butter cuttery thingy, this thingy, and just begin to cut it into the flour mixture. This can take a little while, so just have patience and cut your butter in. One ingredient I forgot to mention that we need for biscuits, because you need something wet to make the biscuit dough. We're going to need buttermilk. You can use regular milk. I'm gonna use buttermilk. Okay, so my flour is looking pretty good. See how it's kind of mealy? It's kind of clumpy like that. All the butter's been cut in. So what you're gonna do now is add your 1 cup of buttermilk and mix that in just to combine. So we're gonna do that. We'll grab a spoon to do so with. Take our buttermilk. We're just going to dump that in, all of it in, and mix that around until it's just combined. So here's kind of what your dough will look like. There's our dough. It's very wet, it's very sticky. We're going to turn this out onto a clean floured surface and work it flat to about 1/2 inch, and then we will fold it a few times and then work it out to about 1 inch thickness. So here I have my clean floured surface. Unfortunately, working with dough is always very messy. So I'm just gonna take this, get it out of my bowl here. So here's our dough. So you're going to now take this on your clean floured surface. You're going to kind of press it out to be about 1/2 inch thick. You just want to press it out like so. Then you're literally going to take it and you're going to fold it in half. You're just going to keep folding it. This is why you want your surface to be clean. The thing you will be eating is going to be all over your surface. So now I'm going to kind of pat it out into about 1 inch thick piece of dough. You don't really need to use a rolling pin, just kind of mash it out. Now for the fun part of cutting these biscuits, I have 2 cutters. You can just use a round one at home if you have it. I have these 2 sandwich cutters that are shaped like a TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon. I'm gonna try to use those to make my biscuits. I don't know how well it's actually gonna work, or if they're gonna hold their shape, or what, but we're going to find out, and I'm gonna try it anyway. So if you have something cool like that, you can use it. I'm gonna use them because I have them. So we're gonna cut these out, put them on a greased tray, and put them in the oven at 450 degrees. So here we have my cookie cutters. I'm gonna try and fit as many into here as I can so I don't have to knead it back together too many times. So there's one, there's one. I'm not sure if it's actually going to work as well as I'm hoping, but there we go. Cool. It actually seemed to work okay. So just cut as many out as you can without having to re-knead and reform your dough. All right, so our biscuits are in the oven. So while we're waiting for the biscuits to cook and bake and do their little thingy-do, we're gonna make some sausage gravy. So what you will need for that is a pound of sausage, 3 cups of whole milk, 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of seasoned salt or just regular salt if you choose, 2 teaspoons of fresh ground black pepper. You're gonna start by taking your sausage in a big skillet and brown it all of it. So here I have a big old skillet which I've oiled a little bit, turned on my pan. I'm gonna let that heat up, throw all of this sausage in there, brown it, and break it up into as tiny of chunks as you can get. As you can see, our sausage is pretty much well browned. There's no more pink, but what you're going to do is slowly add in your 1/3 cup of flour, slowly stirring as to allow the sausage to absorb all of the flour. You will then pour in your milk, little by little. Start with like 3 cups of milk, and then work your way up to 4 cups of milk. Seems like a lot of milk, but hey, what are you gonna do? Then add your seasonings. We're going to slowly add about 1/3 cup of flour into this, sprinkle a little bit on, stir it around and allow the flour to be absorbed by the sausage. Once it's absorbed, sprinkle the rest on, allow it to be absorbed. So now that our flour is absorbed, we're going to add some of our milk. Add about 3 cups of our milk. That's about 3 cups to start. So once you've added your milk, you're going to stir every once in a while and allow the gravy to thicken. This could take about 10 to 12 minutes, so just have some patience. So just let your gravy thicken, and while you're letting it thicken, we're going to season our steak and get it ready to be cooked. So for our steak seasoning, all I'm going to use today is some salty, some black pepper, a little bit of parsley flake, and the word that I can never say, some Worcestershire sauce. I'm not gonna try. So, season both sides of your steak with such things. If you're using the sauce, probably should put it in a bowl. I probably should put it in a bowl, but I'm using a plate. So we're going to season both sides of our steak. Our steak has been sitting. It is about at room temperature. So we're going to season it generously with some salt, some pepper, a little bit of parsley flake. Once you've got the dries in there, just kind of mush them around into the body of that steak there. Now you could stop here if you so choose. You can stop here. You don't have to use the Worcestershire sauce. I'm just going to use a little bit, just as a little bit of something, not very much on each side. Kind of rub it around in there with those dry ingredients. Flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so back over at our gravy here, it's beginning to thicken. It's looking real pretty. We're gonna let this keep thickening. It's already been about 10 minutes. I probably should turn the heat back up a little bit. I added a little bit more milk because it was starting to get really, really thick really fast. So I added a little bit more milk, but we should be good now. So we're just gonna keep letting that thicken while we heat up our pan for the steak. Heating that pan up at a medium-high heat. Make sure it's real hot. Okay, now that our pan here is good and hot, I'm going to put our steak onto it. Be very careful with this part. I have been known to set off the smoke alarms in our house because you want to cook the steak at a high heat, which can cause some smoking issues. So just be careful, use some judgment, crack a window if you need to, or just cook it outside on a grill, but that's up to you. So over here we have our steak cooking, it's underway, and over here we have our gravy, our sausage gravy. Now it's getting to the point where it's pretty good and thick, so this is the point where you want to actually add all of your seasonings, your salt, pepper, and that's really it, really just salt and pepper. So I'm going to use black pepper and some seasoned salt. I'm going to use what I think is good. You can follow the measurement on the recipe that I will put in the link down below if you wish. But to this, I'm just going to add what I think looks good. That looks good for salt. One for pepper. There you go. Good amount of pepper. Stir it all around in there and just let that all soak in. When it comes to cooking your steak, depending on how thick it is, you're gonna wanna probably go for about 6 to 8 minutes per side, depending on how well done you want it. I like my steaks medium rare to medium doneness, so fairly pink in the middle. So I'm probably gonna go for about 6 to 7 minutes on each side. Once your steak has reached its desired, or your desired doneness, take it off of the pan and put it on a plate and let it begin to rest. While it's resting, begin to cook your eggs in the same pan that you just cooked your steak in. All those yummy flavors and juices are already there. That pan's already hot, and it's already good to go, so why not? So cook a couple eggs however you want them. I'm gonna cook mine over easy, because that's how I like my eggs. So we've been working on all this other food, and one thing I haven't shown you yet that's been done for a little while, but I was kind of holding off because I didn't want to show it until the little food showy off part with the fancy music. But I can't help it, guys. They turned out so good. They look really good. Like they held their shape and stuff. Here's the biscuits. Look at them. Look at it. It's a little Millennium Falcon and a TIE fighter. And look, there's more of them over there. But look, they turned out so good. All the food is done. It's all done. It all looks so freaking good. I'm so excited to try all of this. I'm just gonna show it to you and let you bask in the glory of what comfort breakfast is. And probably way too much food. Okay, so all of our food is done. You've just seen how amazing it looks. I'm gonna take a quick bite of just the biscuits and gravy, because that's honestly the part that we worked the hardest on. So I'm gonna take a quick little bite of it. I'm really glad that those things held their shape, because that would have sucked. Here's the biscuits and gravy. Those are perfect. Those are perfect. Those are perfect. Man, those are good. Well guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit that like button. Do all that fun stuff. Leave a comment down below and share it with your friends. Share it with people. They like to cook too. They want to see good recipes too. And subscribe to my channel if you're not, because you get updates when I make more of these things. Thank you again for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye!